Nobody noticed the woman standing alone at the edge of the Sicilian orchard that morning, busy lifting crates of blood oranges into rusted trucks, while the first light of dawn spread across the Mediterranean like spilled fire. But she stood completely still beneath the ancient trees, staring toward the horizon, as if she were waiting for a warship instead of sunrise. Her hands were dirty. Her jacket smelled of dust and sea salt. And hidden inside her coat pocket was a faded photograph that had survived 20 years of silence. 3 days later, one of the oldest fruit farms in southern Italy would burn. And when the smoke finally disappeared over the hills, the entire village would discover why Sofia Bellini had returned home. Like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more stories. The Mediterranean coast of Italy has a strange kind of beauty. It does not beg for attention. It waits. The cliffs rise quietly above the water like old soldiers guarding forgotten territory. Olive trees twist against the wind. Vineyards crawl over the hillsides. Lemon groves glow under the afternoon sun like fields of gold. And somewhere between those ancient roads and sleeping fishing villages, stories disappear into the earth. Sofia Bellini knew every corner of this land before she ever understood how dangerous it could become. The camera would follow her footsteps slowly as she walked through the orchard rows, the sound of gravel crunching beneath worn boots, while morning fog drifted low between the trees. The fruit hung heavy from the branches. Deep red blood oranges. Pale green figures. Lemons bright enough to hurt the eyes. Everything looked peaceful. But Sofia had learned long ago that peaceful places often hide the darkest memories. She was 38 years old now, taller than most of the men unloading crates near the storage barn. Her dark hair was tied back tightly, revealing the sharp scar near her temple. Most people in the village assumed she had been injured in military service. Nobody asked questions. Southern Italy respected silence. Years earlier, Sofia had worked as a field journalist covering conflict zones across Eastern Europe and North Africa. She had survived mortar fire, refugee camps, military checkpoints, and collapsing cities. She had seen children search for food in burned streets while governments argued on television. She had documented wars most people forgot within weeks. But nothing had damaged her the way Sicily did. She stopped beside one of the oldest orange trees and placed her hand gently against the bark. Her father planted this tree when she was 6. The memory arrived without warning. Summer heat. Cicadas screaming in the hills. Her father laughing while carrying crates across the orchard. Her mother slicing figs inside the farmhouse kitchen. The smell of citrus filling the air, while sunlight flooded through old wooden windows. Back then, the Bellini farm had been famous across the region. Restaurants from Naples to Rome paid enormous money for their fruit because the soil near Mount Etna produced flavors unlike anywhere else in Europe. The blood oranges carried notes of raspberry and wine. Their lemons tasted sharp and sweet at the same time. Their peaches softened like butter beneath the tongue. Tourists called it paradise. But paradise is expensive. And expensive things attract dangerous men. Sofia continued walking deeper into the orchard while workers avoided eye contact. Some recognized her immediately. Others only knew the rumors. The daughter who disappeared. The woman who never attended her father's funeral. The journalist who came back after 20 years. Near the far edge of the property stood an abandoned processing warehouse. Its windows were broken. Rust covered the metal doors. Weeds pushed through cracks in the concrete. Sofia stopped there for several seconds. The camera would move slowly toward her face, capturing the slight tremble in her jaw before she finally reached into her coat pocket and removed the old photograph. A little girl standing beside her father in the orchard. And behind them, barely visible near the warehouse entrance, stood 3 men watching. One of them was smiling. The same smile Sophia saw the night her family died. A truck engine growled behind her. She turned. An older man stepped out slowly, adjusting his cap against the wind. His name was Matteo Ricci, and he had worked the Bellini farm since before Sophia was born. Time had bent his shoulders and filled his beard with white, but his eyes remained sharp. "You shouldn't have come back," he said quietly. Sophia folded the photograph carefully. "You sent the letter?" Matteo nodded once. "The farm is being sold," he replied. Sophia looked toward the hills. "To who?" Matteo hesitated. That hesitation told her everything. The Mediterranean breeze moved through the orchard with a low whispering sound. Somewhere nearby, gulls cried over the coastline. Finally, Matteo spoke. "The Moretti family." Sophia's expression hardened instantly. Even after 20 years, hearing that name felt like reopening a wound. The Morettis controlled shipping routes across parts of Sicily. Officially, they operated agricultural export businesses. Unofficially, everyone knew they controlled smuggling networks running through southern ports. Fruit trucks crossing borders rarely attracted police attention. Crates of oranges could hide almost anything. Drugs, weapons, cash. And years ago, Sophia's father had refused to cooperate. Matteo glanced nervously toward the road. "They started buying farms after the droughts," he explained. "Families needed money. One by one, they lost everything. And my father." The old man looked away. He resisted. Sophia already knew that part. What she never knew was how far her father had gone before he died. Matteo reached into his jacket and handed her a small brass key. "There's something inside the warehouse," he whispered. Sophia stared at the key in silence. "You waited 20 years to tell me." Matteo's eyes filled with shame. "I was afraid." The camera would linger on Sophia's face as she looked toward the abandoned warehouse again. Dust drifted across the yard. The metal roof creaked under the wind. Somewhere in the distance, church bells echoed faintly across the valley. Fear. She understood fear. She had seen it in soldiers trapped beneath artillery fire. She had seen it in refugees crossing frozen rivers at night. And now she saw it in an old Sicilian farmer, who spent 2 decades hiding the truth. Without another word, Sophia walked toward the warehouse. The door groaned loudly when she unlocked it. Inside, darkness swallowed almost everything. Broken machinery sat beneath layers of dust. Empty crates were stacked against cracked walls. Shafts of sunlight pushed through holes in the roof, cutting bright lines across the shadows. The air smelled like rust, mold, and old citrus. Sophia moved carefully through the building until she reached the back office. There, hidden beneath a loose floorboard, she found a metal box. Her hands froze, because she recognized it immediately. Her father kept important documents in boxes exactly like this. The lock was already broken. Someone had opened it before. Slowly, Sophia lifted the lid. Inside were shipping manifests, photographs, handwritten notes, and several cassette tapes wrapped in plastic. At the very bottom lay a revolver. Loaded. Sophia picked up one of the photographs. The image showed crates of blood oranges being loaded into trucks late at night. But the crates had been opened. Inside them were rifles. Another photograph showed men standing near the docks in Catania. One of those men was Salvatore Moretti. And standing beside him was a local politician who later became a national senator. Sophia's breathing slowed. This was not smuggling. This was evidence. Enough evidence to destroy powerful people. Then she noticed the final item inside the box. A cassette tape labeled with her father's handwriting. For Sophia. The room suddenly felt smaller. Outside, thunder rolled somewhere beyond the mountains. Her fingers trembled slightly as she placed the cassette into an old recorder sitting on the desk. Static crackled. Then her father's voice filled the darkness. "If you are hearing this, it means I've failed." Sophia closed her eyes. For 20 years, she had not heard his voice. Not once. The recording continued. "The Morettis are using the farms. They hide weapons inside fruit shipments leaving Sicily. Politicians protect them. Police protect them. I tried going to authorities, but someone warned them before I arrived." The tape hissed. "I sent you away because I knew they would come for us." Sophia's jaw tightened. Rain began striking the warehouse roof. "I am sorry for what this will do to you," her father whispered through static. "But if they take the farm, they take everything our family built. Promise me you will not let them bury the truth." The tape ended. Silence swallowed the room. Only the storm remained. Sophia stood motionless beside the desk while memories crashed into her like waves. The fire. The screaming. Her mother pulling her toward the truck. Gunshots in the dark. And afterward, years of believing her family died in a random robbery. But it was never random. It was an execution. Lightning flashed through the warehouse windows. Then headlights appeared outside. Sophia immediately killed the recorder. Voices echoed near the entrance. Male voices. Several of them. She moved silently toward the doorway and peered through the shadows. 3 black vehicles rolled into the yard. Men stepped out carrying umbrellas. One man remained seated inside the center car. Even through the rain, Sophia recognized him instantly. Luca Moretti. Salvatore's youngest son. The boy who used to follow her through the orchards when they were children. Now he controlled half the agricultural exports on the eastern coast. And he was walking directly toward the warehouse. The camera would slowly push toward Sophia's face as thunder shook the building overhead. Her breathing remained steady, but her eyes revealed something colder than fear. Recognition. Because after 20 years of running from the past had finally arrived at her door. And Luca Moretti was smiling. The warehouse lights suddenly flickered alive. Sophia reached for the revolver. Then the footsteps stopped just outside the office. And Luca's voice emerged softly through the darkness. "Welcome home, Sophia." Rain hammered the warehouse roof hard enough to sound like distant artillery. Water leaked through broken panels overhead, striking the concrete floor in slow rhythmic drops, while thunder rolled across the Sicilian hills. The air smelled of rust, wet soil, and citrus left too long in storage. Sophia Bellini stood inside the dark office, with her father's revolver hidden behind her leg. Outside the doorway, Luca Moretti waited without moving. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. The camera would remain fixed on Sophia's expression first. Calm. Controlled. But behind her eyes, memories were detonating one after another. A younger Luca racing through the orchard rows beside her when they were children. His laughter during summer harvest festivals. The day he disappeared from the village after her parents died. And now here he was again, older, sharper, dressed in a dark-tailored coat that looked too expensive for the storm surrounding him. Finally, Luca stepped into the office. 2 armed men remained behind him near the entrance. He looked around the room slowly before his eyes settled on the open metal box. "So Matteo finally found courage," he said quietly. Sophia did not answer. Luca's gaze moved toward the cassette recorder. "You listened to the tape?" "Yes." The thunder outside deepened. For a moment, Luca almost looked disappointed instead of angry. "I hoped you would leave before discovering everything," he admitted. Sophia stared at him carefully. You knew I was coming. We knew the moment you landed in Catania. That answer did not surprise her. Men like Luca Moretti built their power through information. Ports, farms, trucking routes, customs officers, politicians, police. Every piece connected. Sicily operated like a battlefield disguised as paradise.
Your final warning.
Luca stepped closer to the desk and picked up one of the photographs, showing weapons hidden inside orange crates. You became a journalist, he said. Ironic. Sophia's voice hardened. My father died because of your family. Luca looked at the photograph for several seconds before replying. No, he said softly. Your father died because he trusted the wrong people. Lightning flashed through the office windows. Sophia tightened her grip on the revolver. You expect me to believe that? Luca finally looked directly at her. And for the first time, the confidence in his face cracked slightly. There are things you were never told. Sophia almost laughed. Every criminal organization in the world used the same strategy when cornered. Confuse the truth. Delay the confrontation. Create doubt. She had interviewed warlords who smiled while villagers burned behind them. But Luca did not look like those men. That made him more dangerous. Outside, the workers had vanished from the orchard. Only rain and darkness remained across the property. The storm wrapped the farm in isolation. Luca slowly removed his gloves. Your father was not trying to expose us, he said. Sophia's expression sharpened instantly. What? He was trying to stop something worse. Silence. The camera would move closer now, narrowing the frame until only their faces remained against the dark office walls. Luca placed the photograph back inside the box. My father used the fruit shipments for smuggling, he admitted. Weapons moved through the ports during the Balkan conflicts. Politicians made money. Everyone benefited. And my father refused. At first. Sophia's eyes narrowed. Luca continued carefully. Then he discovered who the weapons were actually reaching. The storm outside intensified. Rainwater slid down the cracked windows like tears. These shipments were not staying in Europe, Luca explained. The weapons moved south through the Mediterranean. Militias. Extremists. Civil wars. Sophia felt her stomach tighten. Because she had reported from those wars. She had seen villages destroyed by imported rifles. Children carrying weapons taller than themselves. Mass graves. Burned schools. And now a terrible possibility was forming inside her mind. Luca saw it immediately. Yes, he said quietly,